all right, new and improved Race Brain, but the same three. We tried to get some people on. They said no. And now we're back with the original three. Feel good
That
about
doesn't make us sound good. No one wanted to.
Sounds like no one wanted to come to our birthday party, and it's like, oh, we'll just hang out, guys. Is that fine? Yeah, that's fine. Just three of us.
Dude, you just didn't have birthday parties like the banging spots. Where would you guys have birthday parties growing up?
The free park across the street, or my parents were like, we're not going to Chuck E. Cheese or any of that stuff.
Brewer game. I was a
Ooh.
diehard Brewer fan growing up.
And you're in May, Jack. When are
May.
you?
September.
Okay.
Yeah, right around Labor Day.
Okay, so it's nice weather for mine's March. Mine's in a couple days, but so the weather's okay for that. But
What day?
The 17th.
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patty's
I
Day.
didn't know that. That's a real. I pictured that your birthday is like an episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
It is basically that. I mean, not for me, but the debauchery that is happening, it is very like that. And you did know that, Bracken. You signed us up for High Rocks to get. You asked me my birthday. I said you better put this in your calendar.
No. I could know your birthday. I do not know the date of almost any major or minor holiday.
Oh, I got you.
Like I know July 4th.
Christmas.
Oh, I know Christmas.
July 4th is an easy one.
July 4th,
New Year's, you got that one down?
Yeah,
Year's
there's
isn't
that
too
whole
bad.
year changeover. It's not really my thing.
It's tricky.
This is borderline. This is math adjacent.
So,
Not for me.
Rich, you're in March. Hunter just had a birthday in March.
He's a Pisces.
Jillian and Rose were born on the same exact day earlier in March. Like,
You don't think?
you guys, you think March is the most talented birthday month out there?
That's a good question. I think, does OCR report, they seem to have everybody's birthday in some sort of log somewhere. That might be a question for them.
Kirk and I are both May babies.
May baby.
You got
They're
the
like 3 days
podcast
apart.
locked up. Yeah.
3 days apart. Who's older? Or he's older. Who's his first?
He's older and first,
And first.
I think, but I don't know. I don't. Dates aren't really my specialty.
That's
Do you
not
know your
jam.
anniversary?
Yes,
Do you know your first date?
I do.
Okay.
Well, ours is tricky because we didn't really have a classic dating.
You guys met in college, right?
We met in college.
That's not.
She was seeing someone.
And you didn't
I know the
care.
day we met.
Oh, that's nice.
Just look that up on Direct Athletics or whatever and find out that date in case you forget.
That's right. Met
Wherever
at
the
a track
meet
meet.
was. Yeah. So funny quick tangent on that. Audrey and I, for like our first 3 or 4 anniversaries, we celebrated it on the wrong day. We thought it was February 9th, but it was really February 2nd. We got, because it was
Groundhog's Day. Punxsutawney.
Yeah, from Pennsylvania. But I looked it up because it was some stat like on this day, the Super Bowl, it was the Broncos versus the Seahawks that day. And I was like, what the heck? This I thought this was on our anniversary. And like, oh crap, we were a week early. So for like the first 4 years, we were celebrating on the wrong day.
So here's a question. Bracken, I guess this is for you, and I'm in there as well. Do you still celebrate or acknowledge the days of like your anniversaries before you were then married, or does the wedding anniversary just that's the one from then on?
We like to do all the little things.
That's nice.
My concept in life is date your wife. I think there's a reason she fell for you in the first place. And the longer you can keep doing the things that made her fall for you, the longer she doesn't leave you for.
As a you guys meeting in college, just lots of inappropriate humor. Just keep that rolling.
Like
This
she
is Bracken.
first saw me. I didn't see her first. She saw me. I was warming up for the mile as I was running the tryout for the whitewater track team. And what caught her eye is I was the only runner doing strides in basketball shorts. So I try to stick true to that. I try to keep a little bit of hood figure around the house. I'll wear baggy sweats. I'll wear my and one shorts.
Still
That's
hooping.
kind
South Pole.
Still out there
you were
hooping.
that. Yeah.
Nah, I mean I wasn't South Pole or FUBU or
That's too far.
even
Okay.
Tommy Hilfiger was a little too much for me.
Okay.
But
You
you
can
got
get
to
away
ride
with
the
some.
line on
You
a
can
little
get
bit
away
of
with some.
grunge.
Yeah, you can get us away with some of the Hilfigers. So last episode we talked about building out a season, and today we're going to do it. Did you guys do much research on this, or you're just
Of course we
winging
did.
it?
Treating this like every class I ever took.
Well, there's
Trying
like
to see Jack's work.
yeah.
Well, you're also going to get the same grade as me, and it might not be too pretty this time. So
Unbelievable. There's date specific stuff we need here.
okay.
Can I say something nice to Jack first?
I don't
Whoa,
know. I
yeah,
don't
go
think-
for it.
I don't know
Because
if I like
you
this.
didn't in the running public the other day. I heard
Well,
I heard with Lauren's episode, she did a compliment. She's like, I wasn't mad, Jack was right. And you're like, wait, let's edit that out real quick. We can't
yeah, we
have
don't
Jack
do that
say-"
here.
No, I
And
don't
was
like that
what?
either.
I was like, I'm not even on this podcast. You're saying that, but anyway.
I left in that I was going to edit it out just for you.
I heard it.
Well, you did a rower, a 2K time trial the other day. And
Couple
when
weeks
I
ago,
looked at the video, I thought, did he break 7 or not? So I guess it's a backhanded compliment. I didn't think you were as good of a rower as you are. What'd you
It's
go,
in
like
power.
646 or something?
653. Yeah.
653. Okay.
And
And you were well under, and I was impressed. So that's a compliment. And then
Yeah.
yesterday I did a row time trial, and it cemented the fact that you rode well.
what'd you get? You break 7?
No, 7 flat 0.3.
But
Excellent.
but
You don't have to have a butt associated with it.
he
Your
did
elevation?
he did a full work. Oh, the elevation, that's on your end. I
I was
it's-
at sea level.
I think it's 5 seconds. What would you give it? I give it 5 seconds.
Couple seconds per 500.
Couple seconds per 500. I just used the mile
Fine,
translation.
1. That's fine. I'm cool with no
In a
adjustment.
7-minute
I wrote
test.
a 653. That's what
It's
I'll
like
say.
5 seconds
give it
per
7.
mile.
I
7.
give it 7.3 seconds.
I give it 5 just because I don't know. You're sitting down.
I'll give it none because I haven't done it at sea level. Anyway.
None. Well, BK did a workout before his 2K,
Mhm.
so
I did the day before. So
no, like the minute before.
I did
Gotcha.
10 by 3 minute threshold and then 2K time trial. So it was a compromised time. But anyways, it was when you first start, you're fresh enough. And then at the end, when you're cranking, like, I don't think it's much. I think the middle got me. That's where the workout came in. But the start and finish, you're going to start and finish either way. And I could feel that going at 750 pace was going to be a real chore. Either fresh,
650.
so.
Yeah.
650. Yeah. So anyway, I was impressed with yours. It put into perspective that maybe there's a reason this guy pooped and beat me.
Yeah. Rich said it on Matt's episode when he and Kent were talking about the Gov games and stuff. Matt was making fun of me, and Rich is like, "Wait, Jack's actually an athlete. Let's not forget about this."
Don't forget.
I feel like people forget that every once in a while. So.
I don't think people forget. I just don't think they knew in the first place.
Yeah,
I think that's what we're dealing
Matt
with.
making fun of you for athleticism is Rich.
Yeah.
Rich.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen this? Go ahead.
I was just gonna on Bracken's breakdown real quick. So does that mean you're feeling healthy enough for a 3K potentially? Like,
Potentially.
yeah,
Yeah.
I hope so. I
I've
think
been
that'll be
cleared
fun to
to
go head to
train.
head.
And so then it comes down. Oh, you don't stand a chance in a 3K.
We'll see. You don't stand a chance rowing, I guess. So
High rocks, rowing, you can have that. Short
Yeah.
course OCR is my world.
okay.
Or at least it was a decade
I
ago.
can confirm because I've lost to you in a short course before, 1-on-1.
Oh, that's right.
Back when I was
Everybody lost to
such
Bracken there. Though.
an expert. I was in like my second OCR ever and couldn't do a rope climb. So man, you whooped me that day.
Jack's got
Yeah.
swag today, dude. He's not.
He does.
He's in the conversation at an appropriate time, so he's bringing that swag.
Look, I'm telling you, I've been screwed up because of my internet connection and that soil, as you guys mentioned.
Soil.
Zoom's working.
There are some people at home who are starting to pull out the popcorn and realizing we're about to get finally, for the first time in like a year, one of those good old fashioned Jack Bauer comedy hours they were looking forward to.
That's what the people paid for.
Yep.
Yeah.
All the 5-star
I
reviews
think-
are for this.
It was kind of funny. We went to Atlantic City and like 3 or 4 people were like, I'm not actually joking. Like, it's actually really funny, when you guys do this type of band. I'm like, what? Okay, so Bracken's making fun of it, but they actually like it.
I'm not making fun of anything.
Yeah.
I'm dumbfounded that the review was of all the possible things to
Yeah.
review about the podcast. It was Jack's comedy is the best part.
That's what people are here for.
You bring a lot
Crushing
to
it,
the
I guess.
table and you're a funny person, but I've never left an episode like, man, you know whose comedy was killing today?
Jack Slade.
I've never signed off and been like, man, here's my demo tape. Either, so.
Got a tight 15.
Yeah, man. It's good. Anyways, bringing it all full circle.
Yeah.
Fitness, comedy clubs. I want to set up a one race to rule them all for OCR media. I want Will Hicks versus Matt B. Davis. We can even bring back Brett Stewart, and I
Benny.
want them.
Hunter.
I don't think they count as media. Someone who does nothing but media.
I mean, when they've done like 50 plus episodes, Ben Greenfield, I feel like they've got an honorary
No,
title.
because there's going to be a urine test.
Oh,
Ben,
okay. Yeah.
Ben would set off the metal detectors walking through the door.
Yeah.
I like Matt, Will, and I'd like to bring back Brett Stewart, and I think they should do the Palm Beach 3K.
Margaret. Yeah.
Margaret would smoke them.
Yeah, that's true. Matt, he's getting dead last, 100% guaranteed. He can't even do obstacles. Let's be real. Like
Will, I've never seen do a race.
I thought Will got 50 miles at World's Toughest Mudder before. I know Jason Dupree got 75.
Yeah, I'm not doubting Will. I don't know his obstacle game, but I'd love to see them go Rocky IV on this, disappear off into the wilderness, train hard, and meet for OCR media supremacy.
Yeah. Well, if you saw Matt's 5K recently, it's not looking good for him. He's getting slower. He's putting on the pounds. It's just not looking good for him.
At least he's out there doing it.
He's doing it.
He's doing it.
It's true. I'm just trying to back him because he's not here to defend himself, just like he does to me. So,
I respect that.
Yeah,
Same.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe we could set it up in our season that we're setting up. Maybe we can have like an asterisk media race.
This is what the OCR industry needs. We need like a few random one-off races. Just it's not celebrity death match, but it's like the few people you want to go at each other's throat and do it.
Some Logan Paul KSI grudge match type style happening right here.
Triple
sells
match.
Puts butts in the seats.
We basically talk about how the sport is dead every single week, but so this might be the option that is right in front of our face that we just haven't even explored yet.
All right, one-on-one, you get to choose one opponent. You think it's going to be a great race. Who are you choosing in whatever specific distance you want? Like if you had to make a pay-per-view consisting of you versus so-and-so in any race, what would it be?
To make a good race or to sell?
Both, if that's I think to make a good race, but yeah, to sell, you're just going to pick the most famous person, I imagine. But I'm
taking Matt Fraser in any hybrid event.
Ooh,
I like that.
Let's go.
I would say Nick Simmons to try to get clicks.
Yeah.
But in terms of who I think I would match up well against, I think, how can I not say Chris Rogloski? I think the people need to know who's the better athlete.
And then it ends in Go Ruck style.
It's going to be just
battle.
Yeah, it's going to be like Broken Skull, where you do the whole course and then you just wind up in the circle at the end, waiting for the other person to get there.
Yeah. Got buy
one,
get one free with
walking up with my hands on my hips. Like, all right.
Then it's happening.
Yeah. So you'd pick Chris. Rich, who would be yours?
I think it'd be a good battle. Yeah. I think I could battle her all the way up to 50 miles.
Yeah.
50, I think she's got you. I mean, you DNF'd at Tahoe in an ultra and she went 4 times as
long. But that was only supposed to be
not because of fitness, because of chilliness.
Well, Chris,
I got cold. Well, I'd stomp her in short course and she'd probably stomp me in long course, but somewhere between 10K and 60K, we would have good battles.
Yeah. I'd say about 5 to 6 hours is the turning point, maybe probably closer to 6. Where
I can crank for 6. I know that because Tennessee Mile, I crank for
double digit hours, probably 8.
Say 8 and beyond. I don't think I stand a chance.
Okay. Yeah.
7's the turning point.
Yeah. Rich, you did an ultra before also. South Carolina, was it?
Yes. When they called it South Carolina, but it was in North Carolina. It was at the same place where Tyson, Tyron, the equestrian park there, whatever.
Yeah.
Tryon.
Yeah.
I forgot you did an ultra. How'd that go?
Bad. Didn't enjoy it.
Were you injured at the time and you only did it because you were capping off your year or something?
That's kind of what it was. Yeah. I just I've never done an ultra. I want to train for it a little bit and see what it's like out there to have a little bit of that experience. Terrible day. Rainy. That's orange clay mud. Didn't have good footwear. I did all my training in speed goats. And then on that day it was super muddy and I was just like, I'm not changing anything on this day. And those just do not work in like thick, slick mud. So I was like on my butt.
Oops.
Yeah. Learn that lesson.
Gotcha. Yeah,
You
you
just
think
did
you
a
could?
shoe episode with Kirk on. I just talked about shoes for 70 minutes.
I can't
not
imagine
listened
how
to
you were you the most excited? Could you even keep on a straight arrow, or were you just like
I
everything
was
was
so
all over
locked
the
in.
place?
I
Did you
was
have
so locked in.
it was structure and like I just imagine that tangents galore, unable to
I was
like
answering questions
contain.
about, in particular, super shoes that we get, the most commonly asked shoe questions.
It
So it
was a
was like
Q&A.
breaking down the components of a super shoe, why some super shoes don't give you the benefit that others do. There were like 5 questions that I just encompassed throughout.
I see.
But anyway, this question we get asked a ton, which is I do all my ultra training in something beefy, but on race day, it's this technical sloppy mess and you can't wear something beefy. But I don't know if I can get away with the type of shoe that responds well, like an X Talon or the Evo Jaws or something like that. So what would you have wore for an ultra to give you the grip, but also the support to get through it? Or do you just say, screw support, we're going to keep our feet all day long and hopefully it's soft enough that it doesn't matter?
That's what I did, and
That's what I do.
it wasn't. It didn't work out great, but I don't know. I can't see a world in which completely changed to a shoe that's a little bit more minimal with bigger lugs. It would have been really hard for me to do that. I would have just prepared different. I would have prepared in them a little bit more.
That's tough.
What would you do? Would you answer? Is this a teaser?
No. This wasn't part of that episode. It's just I don't think
Could be
the
next
answer
episode. Check out next
leading
episode.
into the race. I think you've already lost the ability to decide.
Right.
Like you said, you have to. Like I did that Killington Beast in 2012 in the Innovate X Talon 190 and continued for the Ultra in that shoe, and my feet and lower legs never broke down. But I'd done all my quality work, including long runs. All my long runs were ski hill, and I did it in that shoe, even though I wasn't a minimalist in training. But it's also super steep up and down, and Killington's soft. But had it been flat and technical, I don't know if I could have done that same thing.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to the prep. I think you just did it. You did it the right way. But that's where I break down first is my lower legs and feet. So I just didn't want to have that experience 20 miles into a 50K.
10 miles ago.
Yeah, and because I would imagine that's where it was. So I just sacrificed the grip, and it was not awesome.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yep.
Just not gonna do it again.
Gotcha. Do you get a podium?
No, I got work.
You're not gonna do another one?
Maybe in my older age.
Do you have a podium at every distance other than that?
No,
I don't think you have a beast.
I don't think I have a beast either.
You got the Fort Carson Super last year.
Yeah, damn right. And I'm not going back for the beast this year. Not doing that race.
Yeah, and you've won a stadium before, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No, seconds and thirds.
Second. Oh, okay. I thought Philly, you got it. And
when BK shows up, I'm relegated to third.
I thought you got a win somewhere.
I did get a win there on the Super on Sunday.
Okay. So you got 3 of 5.
What do you have, Jack?
Stadium and sprints. So
for a long time, I thought I'll try to win all of them in 1 year, and then
happened twice.
Yeah. Then I decided I'll just win all of them in my career. And now I'm realizing I'll probably never win a beast or an ultra.
You have that Indiana one.
You thought that Indiana one was going to be a layup.
13.
Ran into a buzzsaw.
I ran into multiple buzzsaws.
Several buzzsaws. An assembly line of buzzsaws.
One of them was my aerobic threshold.
Your fitness.
Yeah,
it's the biggest buzzsaw of them all.
Yeah. Speaking of buzzsaws, I forgot to answer who who I should face. I would go. I think the best matchup would be Cole Schwartz. I like facing him. So we've always had a lot of close battles. I don't care what the distance is. Stadium, hybrid, beast,
Gov
whatever.
games.
He's the guy I like going head to get it. Yeah, Gov games. We whoop them because we didn't cheat.
Is there some other statistician?
I don't know, but they're clearly not willing to reveal themselves because they don't want any part of this.
Maybe in a different area of fitness.
The High Rocks guy in the UK would be the next closest, I think.
Oh, Greg.
Yeah.
You go against Greg. Bust that ass.
He doesn't want to come to the US. Yeah.
Jeopardy style.
No, James Burton. That was the guy who took me down.
That's what I want to see.
I think
he's actually a good racer. So
he was at OCR Worlds. Came over from.
He's been doing OCR for like a decade. Yeah, I'd be willing to face him. Like kind
That's
of
what
Broken
I'm-
Skull style. We do the race, and then at the end, we're in the middle of the ring, and it's just answering trivia for like 5 minutes in a row.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
This doesn't have to be answered now, but Jack, I'd like to see, because you did all our stat breakdown. Who are Rich, myself, and you? Who is our exact or closest to 50-50 head-to-head split with in our career? Who would our actual best, based on historical data,
Gotcha.
counterpoint be in a race?
Weren't you
That would be
super
interesting.
Weren't you super close to Chad Trammell and like Mark Botras? I thought that you had like a
Botras
couple
and
of
Woods were close.
yeah. You got them early on before they like, but you were still in, killing it back then actually. But yeah, you guys are pretty.
That was a backhanded compliment right
No,
there.
no,
That was two-sided
Yeah, it
It was
was.
back
There we
then.
go.
And
That was
actually,
two-
you still were at the time.
Yeah.
Two backhands, double backhanded
Double.
slap.
I'm fine giving Bracken a couple backhands, but yeah, I think that's the caliber athlete that Bracken is 50-50 with roughly.
It's really good. That's
Pretty good.
rock solid.
It depends when they were.
Oh, not now.
It was pre-DHEA Woods, and it was pre-world champs Botras.
On a roll.
I like it.
Yeah, Rich. I don't know who you are, but it was probably someone who was backpack of the single digits for U.S. National Series level. Because you got
probably
tenth
not
a couple
anybody.
times.
Yeah, probably not anyone.
Austin Azar.
Yeah, we probably are pretty close. He's beat me a couple times. I've beaten him a
Yeah.
couple times. That's a pretty good comparison.
I'd like to see him jump in the hybrid game. I've
He
always
has.
thought he'd have. I know but he didn't do like mid 60s for high rocks. Like
I don't even know if he got under.
He filled out those shorts well though in New York.
Big boy.
He had his man bun going and these beefy butt and quads. Oh my goodness. Had me questioning myself watching that live stream.
It's just nature. You don't have to worry about it.
it's Canadians. Yeah.
Jesse Bruce came to Houston and actually did pretty well.
Yes, he did.
Fourth, I
It
think,
was
right? Maybe just after.
Fifth or sixth.
64?
Okay.
66, I believe.
66.
Just had a hard time on the sled pull. Dude's tough though, but he's not very big. He's not.
Yeah.
I mean, he's yoked, but he's like pretty lean.
Yeah. Doesn't have the mass, basically.
Yeah, and that sled pull, that hits different,
Yeah.
as they
If
say.
mass matters, I'm about to PR the next time I step out on a high rocks course.
Dude, let's go.
Well, after the Gov Games buffet for a week in a row, I feel like I'd be crushing those sleds with the mass also.
Yeah, that did take a bit of a toll. I'm
Yeah.
just getting
feeling
back,
about 4 or 5 pounds heavier.
just
than
getting
normal.
back to normal.
Yeah.
All right. So
We got
seamless transition.
We have stuff to talk about today. This is a filler episode. We have some stuff maybe next week.
You're just like Kirk.
What?
You guys can't announce it when we're just winging stuff. If you don't say it,
Like
no
they
one knows
don't,
it.
like they don't know. And this is a topical podcast. You guys should have something. Ours is based around the seasons. Next week will be a preview for Savage, I believe, right? The first
Yeah,
Savage
Georgia,
race
the
will be
opener.
next weekend, so that's exciting. Right now, we don't have a ton, so we're gonna build out a super league.
Mhm.
It's an idea we had at the end of the episode last week. So we're just going to go through all the different race offerings that exist. And even if we want to be a little bit creative, we're not going to hold ourselves really to too much of a standard here. And we're just going to kick it around the way that we kick things around. So I did research. I have a schedule. Jack's just trying to get by on his brains. BK,
I've got the schedule.
What did you? I have it all. I have it. Like I have ideas.
Right here.
And
got it pulled up. OCR reports list.
it's like half
Listen,
decas.
I know
You
the rest
guys
of them.
aren't paying for my time in this moment. You're paying for my previous 11 years of experience in this
That's
sport. That's what
true.
you're getting.
Yeah.
That's true. That's what we always get. That's what it's just the historical knowledge. BK brings it. So we're just gonna talk this out and see what we can come up with in terms of a season with the current offering. So I guess we should a couple things to consider. The things that I consider were like duration of the races, distance, obviously, like how the season's kind of broken down geographically, where we want the season to lay out, how we want the championships to kind of come around, if that's something we want to dive into. So
Number of races.
number of races is really big. How
Pretty
off, how,
important.
how they're going to score it. Jack, you got us locked in on that.
We don't even
How-
need to talk about that. Percent of winner.
Percent of winner. If you got to figure out a way to just make that easy to digest.
It's not. You take the smallest number and divide it by your number. It's
I've-
one
I'm-
division.
Division?
piece. That's it. I know it's crazy. Yeah.
That ain't happening.
Maybe if I just call it like POW instead of percent of winner, POW,
Ooh.
prisoner.
That's what I'm saying.
of-
Yeah,
just-
POW. We could make
Yeah.
a flag.
Yeah.
And then,
That's what all those are about. They're just promoting my percent of winner.
yeah. Then, but you need to come up with some just like number. Just make it easier. Just like
okay,
take
here's your
like
number.
like a V dot, like a V dot situation.
Yeah, people aren't intimidated by V dot and all these other
People just don't go by it.
terminology.
All you need in life is a label.
Yeah.
That's it. If you have a catchy acronym, MAUD, for example, you
Great
take
example.
off.
Great
How about
example.
this? Margin of victory. MAUV. That sounds like mod,
Oh, no, I don't like it.
No, okay.
No, you're crossing streams.
All right.
Yeah, I like the synergy of it, but
Margin of victory is good.
Yeah.
I don't even really know where to start here. I have an idea. Do we just each go around and kind of pitch our ideas? I can pitch mine.
Yeah, I think we should pitch the theory of the season.
Got my theory.
I like the idea pitching first, and then we decide what the theory is, and then we break down actually what it looks like.
Okay, great.
What?
Jack, you want to start with your theory?
Sure. The goal of this is OCR. Is it hybrid? Is it crossover? Are we trying to
OCR Super League?
We can do whatever. I did mine a specific way, but if yours is better, just however you think it would work best. Would be most compelling.
My goal is to find the best crossover athlete between OCR and hybrid in under 2 hours of duration. That's my
mission statement
there. Yeah.
I do want to reiterate that we chose this off last episode, which was maybe we save the sport by combining into an OCR league.
Yes.
So if that OCR league is in your book designed to find the best hybrid athlete or whatever, that's fine. But this is to save the whole sport.
Bracken doesn't like it.
No. I just want to make sure
he hates the mission statement.
You haven't heard my ideas. That's just
no.
mission
I'm reiterating for the crowd.
Yeah.
This is to save the sport. This is our best production so that it can be sold for TV rights.
Okay.
So the best season we can possibly create so that it highlights athletes and it's marketable.
Yep.
I'm going to have a hard time pitching mine, but let's hear it. I don't have a succinct mission statement. Jack came with a mission statement and nothing else. He's got nothing else after the mission statement. I guess we'll find out what else.
I thought we were just doing like our quick little 15-second highlight.
I told you he's got nothing but a mission statement.
No, I've got way more than a mission statement.
Hey, a good elevator pitch is needed. So
the board of directors and I, we were talking about our mission statement for hours. So
and this is what you came up with. Good money well spent.
Sounds like zero coming from you.
I don't have a mission statement. Mine's actually the opposite of what yours is. I'm segmenting mine even further into a short course season and a long course season, having and then like specific championships along the way in that opening. I do like the idea of teams. There's going to be a team concept as well. And yeah, and it like individual, like kind of like invitational type things along with the short course and long course. Mission statement, period, punctuated.
Yep.
BK, what do you got?
Well, I have just an overriding theory of how this goes. So I guess combination of both of yours. I think the goal is to highlight the best of what OCR has, both in what the audience is going to want to see and what we are already doing well. And I think we're known for gnarly terrain. I think we're known for obstacles. We're known for mountains, altitude, and then some amount of flat too. And so I'd like to incorporate it all together. I think the season should start in the South and on the coast. I think we want to hit the iconic venues that the sport is known for, but at the times of year we all wish they would go there for. I don't want to go to California in wildfire season. I don't want to go there in the middle of summer. I don't want to hit Florida when it's hot. I think the season would start in California, Texas, and Florida early, and then move up and hit the Midwest in spring and in fall. And then you have your championships whenever you're going to hold them. But I think I'd like to have 2 to 3 of every distance. And I'd like to have it so that there's a narrative throughout it and now we hit the altitude race and now this is going to happen. And next week we're down and we're going to showcase a different skill set. I would like there to be an overriding skill set of that 60-ish to 90 minute, but that you're hitting both ends of the spectrum. You're hitting altitude mountain, you're hitting sea level mountain so that everyone has a chance to shine. But I think most importantly is that athletes need to be associated with uniforms. I can't think of a single successful sport where someone is not directly tied to the colors and the design season to season. So I do propose that there are teams. Even if it is an individual competition, the superstars must be on a team with colors that are associated with that. Fans wear your team's colors. They wear their favorite superstar's jersey in color. And I like Atkins, if he or let's say Kent is on the UPS team. Like he is brown. That's what he is. And if you ever get traded and he's orange the next year, it's a shock, like seeing Tom Brady in orange. And you have to get used to it. But that's the new narrative. So it is team-based, but individual driven.
I like that. That's then we can sell jerseys. There could be merch.
Yep.
I like this is on brand for you too, Bracken, making sure that the fit is right.
That's right. You got to have it.
Got to get that drip right.
Yep. Mine was also going to be team-based, where you have a draft element, because that allows you to see, you basically have the 5 or so best athletes from like the previous year, 10, however many teams you have, you let them in charge. And that way you don't have like this super team to begin with. You don't want, all the best athletes on the same team just because a sponsor is going to pay for more, because that eliminates the competitive, parity during the sport. And then during the draft, you kind of get to see who the athletes are, learn their personalities. And I think they'll each pick 5 to 7 people, score it kind of like one of our episodes, to be honest.
You're Jack, you're not one. Didn't you get relegated? You're relegated out of the being able to draft a team. So we all agree on the teams.
Yes.
Let's cap ourselves on time here so we don't spend this full episode talking about it. Let's do 8 minutes on exactly what Jack was kind of diving into. How would the teams look? How would the teams be decided? And then, just those two pieces. 8 minutes.
Okay. Team, I think we've kind of established with our race brain episodes, you have about 20 good, high quality scoring athletes at most of these races. So I think that we can go with 3 or 4 teams of 7 to 10 athletes each, just in my opinion. And that you might have, you're not going to have athletes do every single race, I imagine, or unless that's the goal. Are we trying to get people to do 12 races in a calendar year just to fill up we want this as a league, so it's not like you sit out the first half of the season and then you come in the second, you're doing all of it. Okay.
In Bracken's, not in mine.
Okay.
Well, let's break that down real quick. Let's each take like 60 seconds to pitch how that works. I'll start it off. I think that you would want to make it so that it's worthwhile that everyone shows up to every race. Not everyone's going to maybe swing at every single race. And it doesn't matter, because if you have 20 athletes there, if 4 people are just kind of running it or they're tempoing it, it doesn't matter. It gets lost in the shuffle. But having the faces at each one is necessary, because every successful league has the majority of their best people there all the time. And repetition is what gets fans tied into individual names and faces.
I think if we look at other sports, even like decathlon, you're going to have someone who's great at hurdles, but they're bad at the 1500, but they still show up and have to compete in the 1500. You have the Tour de France, where you have many stages where you might have a time trial versus a 6-hour grind in the mountain, which has no impact because everyone's just kind of sticking together. Everyone just kind of completes it, even if it's not their strength. But when it's time to shine, they're still there every single race. And that's when you get to see, they're highlighted on their best achievements there.
I don't find this to be athlete friendly. That's what I don't like about 12 races over 12 months, because it is kind of forcing the issue for people. And that's kind of I think that's a problem that we have right now with the current structure of Spartan, which is February to December.
It's too long.
It's too long.
12 races over 12 months. I don't know if any of us would suggest.
No.
Okay.
So are you saying, Rich, with you have a short league, you have a long league, you can have overlap for athletes who want to participate in both, kind of like winter baseball. Some players go down to Venezuela or the Caribbean and stuff and play there, even though the MLB season's only a specific 6-month calendar. That's kind of what you're saying?
Yeah. So like there would be the spring would be short course, the fall would be long course. They would be the same teams, and they could overlap if they wanted to, but you could have a little bit more specialization. So someone like Rylan would obviously want to do all of it, and he would do well in all of it.
Chris,
of course. But if you get someone who, I don't know, Jack, give me someone who's more specialized in long courses.
DJ Fox.
Yeah, super long distance.
Yeah.
Say, I'm having a hard time.
We don't really have that in our sport.
We
Yeah,
kind of don't
everyone-
have that.
Our
Everyone
short is
does
short
everything.
enough that it's still 30 minutes.
Let's just say Tyler Veerman for that matter. He can do well in sprints, but he's not going to dominate sprints. If he's in his beast, we can imagine he's going to be on the podium, right? Whatever. We'll just use him as an example.
Okay.
So he can still run the spring races, but not put a major emphasis on that because the team wouldn't necessarily count on him for that. But if you're drafting appropriately, you would draft someone like Ryan Kent to have that and who can still kind of cross over. So having specialists would help, and I think it would help with the training piece also.
Okay, so I think we need to determine what we mean by teams, because the way I envision it, you are drafting to your team, or you are just everyone's a free agent with a price tag associated with them, a tier level, and you get 2 level 1s, 2 2s, 2 3, whatever it is. I don't know how it's going to work, but you get people onto a team evenly somehow. But I don't see it as a team competition. I see it as the team, like, for lack of better, it's like a PGA or a NASCAR where you're all sharing the team and the sponsor, but you're certainly not being scored to. It's an individual competition with training groups more than team racing. That's how I see it.
That's a good point. And I think that there's space within the season, if it's broken up appropriately, to have team races like in the summer or something. It'll be like cross country style race. Doesn't mean anything for the series. It's just something fun. Throw a little money out there. But yeah, I think you're right in terms of showing up on race day. It's still individual.
Well, let's look at our typical race brain drafts. Like, are you would you care necessarily about how well the person who finishes 15th does if you didn't draft them? Or are you like, oh, they're on my team, I want them to do better? I feel like if you establish actual teams and team scoring, whether it's cross country style like we typically do or some other iteration, like you suddenly have a little bit more vested interest in Ashley Heller or Logan Broadbent, who might not be at the front, but they're still part of your team.
Are you talking for the manager, like the Home Depot or UPS, or are you talking about for people who are playing fantasy OCR along with the season?
For the fans,
First
like,
off.
Like if you're a fan of UPS, brown's just your color. You like those earth tones. Looks good in the fall. Maybe you're just into that team, so you want to follow those competitors. Having a team aspect, I think, would be helpful, but I would imagine that it would be secondary. If we try to put an emphasis on it, I think it wouldn't work in the scope of like an endurance sport.
Wouldn't have as much buy-in.
I propose a team cup then, where there are points gained in each race. There's not an individual team competition in the race throughout the year. Like it's not like this person won, but the team, it's just your points accumulate. And at the end of the year, the most successful team wins the team's cup and a big bonus for each individual. And maybe 1 or 2 team events along the year, which are team only or team prioritized, and they have bonus points for the year. But I think the individuals sell the sport and the teams gather support. It's kind of
like collegiate track and field. Right. Like it's essentially what that is. Like you gain points, and like if you you can move pieces, but most teams don't. Like if you 2 teams will do that, but
your hurdlers aren't training with the shot putter who might earn points and not training with the 10K runner who's also earning points. So,
and the individual doesn't care that much about the team. Right.
You don't have a sprint relay and a DMR at every event, but once or twice a year you do it because it's a fun little oddball thing.
And that can count toward that, like you said, have bonus points toward the Cup Series to incentivize it. Probably need sprinkle a little monetary incentive in there as well.
Yeah. I'd like a team bonus cup at the end of the year. This is the most successful team, and they all get a bonus. Yeah, I could see that. I'd like the individual to drive the season, though.
You're also going to have athletes want to do well for their own good, but throw in that little teaser at the end where you might make a little bit more money based on how your team does. You're gonna kick home a little bit harder a couple times.
Yes. Yeah. And I think it's better for the spectator point, like what Bracken was saying, having uniforms, being able to identify that. It'll be easier for the teams themselves to create content around the team. Like we think like 10 Men Elite type of thing to help help the individuals follow the teams and the individuals within the teams.
Castle Springs Collective.
Exactly. Outside of the actual just events.
And I understand that OCR uniforms are going to be kind of controversial, especially in North America, because it's less comfortable for a lot of people to race in. But it's just constant in our coverage that it's hard to pick people out.
Even if it's just shorts color.
Yeah, it could even just be shorts. But I can't think of a successful sport that has no jersey especially that is a shirtless sport, except for sports that they are designed so that you can film up close the whole time. So boxing, MMA,
Power slap.
CrossFit, those kind of things, the camera can stay relatively stationary. Even in CrossFit, like you can have a close up almost the entire event. You can't have that in OCR. So I think you have to have a way to delineate people on course, even if it is just shorts.
How do you know the one swimmer from another? You're not really seeing them.
Well, they even have that graphic in the lane line.
They're just in a lane.
That's true. Yeah. That's
CrossFit too. They're in lanes.
Yeah.
Other than that, I can't think of a shirtless sport that is filmed from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
Even triathlon, if they no one's shirtless anymore.
Do you think people should just kind of suck it up? It's like, yeah, I understand the allure of not wearing a shirt, but it's like if you wear a singlet or something, you did that throughout your track days and stuff. You do it at most road races in general. It's like, just wear it. They're paying you. I don't know. I don't see the big deal.
I don't want to make life worse on athletes. I always raced with a shirt. I preferred it for abrasions and your skin irritation and everything, but it is less comfortable when it gets muddy and wet. Like I get that, but I think shirtless is part of the allure of OCR. Having these ripped shirtless people running isn't a bad look, but I think that some version, even if it's just shorts, just have a uniform.
You're looking out for yourself in the commentating booth.
Yeah.
But you're going to be on the team though. You're going to be out here.
I might not get drafted.
Well, we'll see. Well, if we make the pool deep enough, to summarize, there will be teams present at every single event. However many people are involved, like that's like a semantic that doesn't really matter for this conversation. But that there would be teams, and the teams would have some sort of sponsor, even
mandatory. It's what pays for the league.
That's what pays for the league, right? Also, that's like real fiction, like Game of Thrones level fiction. Right there, having a sponsor for each team at this point of the sport.
I don't know. Team Powerlift, Team Fit Aid.
We're talking about
Team Ray-Ban.
We're talking about hybrid. Yeah, get some Ray-Ban back. That makes sense to me.
Team Craft,
Garmin.
Team Craft.
Lock laces.
Yeah, even if
VJ.
but like they're not. Whatever. Okay.
Initially, all it takes is cover everyone's travel costs. That would be enough to get people at most races.
Right.
Now, you'd like to have a little bit more, but that's not a massive investment from a sponsor platform standpoint.
Right.
If you were talking $400,000 to be the title sponsor of Spartan for Reebok, I think was the initial year, something like that, $400,000. And then it went up from there. I mean, would 40K be a good platform for someone? Would 40K cover 5 to 8 people's travel for a year?
I hope so.
Probably.
But
I don't think it's that big of a. You could probably have travel plus 500 to 1,000 per athlete per race for the year for about a $40,000 to $50,000 advertisement spot. That's chump change to companies like Powerlift.
And then their logo is on the live stream the whole time.
You're holding it in every interview before and after.
Yep.
You've got your hat. I mean, it's just like every major sport. You
looking
finish
like a NASCAR. Yep.
Yeah, you put on the hat. It's not that big of an investment. I know I'm going to get the same people coming at me, but I don't think it's a pipe dream to be able to do that.
Okay. So that's kind of how that would look. So there would definitely be teams, how they would show up. All right.
I'd be interested to know what these people are already buying in sponsorship wise into a Spartan race. Like what's the buy-in to have your tent there? Is it 20 grand? To have a tent there, 15 or 20 grand?
No idea, but
so if you're doing that already, now you get every race.
Actually get like legit exposure consistently.
Yeah.
Okay. Teams, check. 11 minutes. Not bad.
Close enough.
Could be worse. So from here, now we have our teams established. Now we need to figure out where the teams, where they will be seen.
I do want to say one thing about that. I know we're at 11. For the legitimacy of even having a chance of pulling it off, I would say the opposite, Jack. Instead of 3 or 4 teams of like 7 to 10, I would say 7 to 10 teams of like 3 to 6.
smaller investment by the companies just to get them in the door.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm
then
fine
you're
with
not
that.
seeing 10 brown shorts out there and
Yeah.
10 orange shorts. And you get to break it up a little bit more. So like
Yeah.
3 guys, 3 girls, that's a team.
If you think of the Olympics, you're obviously going to root for your own country, but you have 3, maybe 4 athletes if they're the defending champ who are eligible to compete.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is. So
Yeah,
that's
I would
fine.
mirror that to make it more realistic. You're
Yeah.
not going to have a team that can afford to sponsor 10 or 12
Yeah.
athletes.
Understand.
All right, cool.
So then where are these athletes going to race? What's that going to look like? Because we need to talk about where they'll be. And I had the idea of that we were going to take the current race offerings, right?
Mhm.
And I took them as they exist now, like the dates
Yes.
that Savage Florida or whatever would be. Like that's,
Oh, okay.
you know what I mean?
I
You're
didn't worry
not going to
about
have the
dates yet.
brands work with each other to make this happen.
You're in
True.
you're in make believe world, both of y'all. I'm out here.
Yeah, this whole thing is reality. Yeah.
Hey, I'm just trying to make things happen. You guys are out here.
I live
like-
in a fantasy world.
Well, I did have Cloverfield as the championships for both distance. So
Oh,
So
where does
no.
our race come in? The race brain.
That's the
hybrid.
championship.
That's the championship, the race brain
Or the
Cloverfield.
tryout.
Heather White has a big head start.
No, Lauren.
Oh, Lauren. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Lauren broke that record. By how much, Jack?
she was like 30. I thought.
Heather was 30 something.
Okay. Yeah.
By
All right.
10.
Lauren's another world record holder.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
Lauren.
Hey, I used to be the DecaFit world
Doing
record
great.
holder, just like Heather. So
the
I'll
Kmart.
take that away.
The,
Oh
the
yeah,
the Kmart version.
the original Kmarter.
Nice.
I once took second place at a lawnmower race at a Kmart parking lot when I was 8 or 9, and I got a double XL white Kmart shirt for that. So
You
Yes,
were,
you and I
ri-
have
you,
something
were
else in common.
you were riding in a lawnmower?
driving or riding lawnmower.
Oh, not like strongman, like dragging it.
No, I was like in
Eight-year-old.
4th grade.
So that's how they do.
Kmart drag racing.
That's what do you
They
do?
strap
What
him to
do
a
you do
truck,
out in Wisconsin?
strongman.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No one knows.
All right.
All right.
Race series.
Season, I'll just chime in here with the season. Rich, you made a good point. I like your short and long course separate seasons.
Thank you.
Just to specialize it right there. If it were me, I would have 5 events over a 10-week period, week in between, and at the end of it is your championship. I know that we're kind of bound by the existing schedule, but that would be my ideal format.
I had something similar. It was 4 races and making it all mandatory within
Yeah.
this. Yeah. Is that what you said?
Well, we kind of established that early. It's like you are in this league. You don't
Yes.
see NFL players sitting out the first half voluntarily and showing the second half. Like you're showing up to them.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, I think on a previous NBA players, however,
Yeah, load
Whenever-
management.
whenever they want to play,
Yeah.
get them out there.
I like that. I had 2 ideas for this. The first would be to make it a more speed-based first half of the season. So it was actually a 2-part season. It was going to be
You're
something
copying.
like
you're,
that.
You're copying my idea right now. That's just what's that's what's
Do you
happening.
want to say it first?
Plagiarism.
You go ahead and say it.
So
and
the
I'll come
first
in
would
and
be
fill in the gaps.
4 to 5 races, same thing in like in maybe let's say 4 races in 8 weeks, and then a championship, and then 4 more in 8 more weeks, and then a championship. So a 2-part season. The first would be flat based, and the second would be mountain based, or the first would be short based, and the second would be long based. And I don't know which one I prefer, but giving 2 options, and you have crossover that people train through one of them probably, but give more opportunities to earn and be seen without having to feel compelled to. I mean, that's a 20-week season without feeling like a 20-week season.
It's basically cross country and outdoor track, skipping indoor track.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or high altitude, low altitude, or flat,
Just
steep.
yeah.
2
just
points of
flipped.
emphasis.
Without
But
a
I
winter
would keep the
season.
mountains,
summer.
if possible, for the second half, so that people who live in places where you can't run mountains in the winter, you're not screwed by having a mountain beast when you've only had access to trails for 1 month.
You mean everybody who doesn't live in Southern California?
Yeah.
So with the team oriented part, this would then kind of, I guess it would give them time if the season was split to then train for mountains over the summer.
Mhm.
But the way I was looking at it, I was kind of lumping, like giving a little taste of each in both the spring and fall season, both the long
Okay.
course and short course. Just like I said, I think it would work because it would give people time to train flat and then give people time to train mountain. But I think I just had that in there to kind of help the specialists, quote unquote, or the people who kind of lean in one direction. So it's not just all, because I mean, if it's flat, the results will probably be fairly consistent. You know, where if it's
mountains are really consistent.
What's that?
Mountains are fairly consistent also, though.
But that's what I mean. Like within the duration of a short season, like having the mixed results might be a little bit more compelling.
Yeah, and recovering in 2 weeks from back to back mountain races, that's gonna suck.
I mean, yeah, Golden Trail does it to some extent. It depends. Are you doing Big Bear, Utah, Tahoe back to back? Or are you doing a Palmerton's Super? Do you have a Minnesota Sprint, and then you have a Big B? I think the layout.
We'll discuss that.
Yeah, I think we'll get to that. But I would like to see, whether it's two separate or one together, I would like to see two offerings of every option. Like you have two big mountain races, you have two middle distance races, and you have two short races. I think that's the minimum entry is 6 races for a year of a season. And then you choose what your championships test.
Ideally a combination, right? Like a championship should be shouldn't lean too heavily in one direction or another. I
think that this should, for a short and long, it shouldn't be distance, it should be duration based. I know that we have Savage races consistently the same distance, and it's plus or 5 minutes most courses, but Spartan you can have a 70-minute Big Bear Super versus a 42-minute slow course, and both of those are supers. So I think shrink the distance if needed to keep it under a certain time cap to fit within the parameters of our short first long season.
Well, I think that splitting the course into early and spring and a fall league is kind of how I see it, is that you could choose the courses that are appropriate for each one. Like if there's an emphasis in spring is to keep it to the 40-minute supers, and then in fall it's the 90-minute supers. But it allows that summer training block. A spring and fall league I would like.
I agree.
Yep. All right, we seem to be on the same page for that.
So Rich, what you kind of already had your
you want me to go through it?
Schedule. Yeah, let's hear what your idea. Look at it? What are the events?
All right. I'll pull it up as well. I'm all out of sorts. I'm on Zoom. We're not on a normal thing. Jack's soil situation. More work for your boy over here. I'm willing to do it, but
just like me asking all the athletes if they're racing.
All right. You don't get to use that all the time. You get to use that right now, and now you've used it up. So I guess fill the time while I figure out how to share a screen on here. I don't do this that often.
So what I would ideally do in this world is hit the highlights of every race series. So like Savage, Georgia, that's one of them. That's what they're known for. They're known for Florida and Georgia. I would try to have one Savage. It would be Georgia. Their home is Florida, so it'd be nice to hit that, but you could also hit it in Ohio, and now you knock a small, short mountain race off the season. So that kind of thing. Spartan, I'd try to hit the iconic venues. Killington should probably be on there. You would have, they've left their SoCal and everything like that. But trying to hit something that they've done before. If it's going to be a stadium, it should probably be a Dallas, or it should be some East Coast baseball stadium. I'd like to hit the big venues that is going to drive people there. I think having a Palmerton would make a lot of sense.
Gotcha. My other question, just before we move on, for our team thing, are we doing mixed genders? Like Lindsay can be on the same team as Ryan if that happened to be the case, or are we doing guy only, girl only?
I like mixed gender.
Mixed gender.
Okay.
If it's going to be like the cup situation, it's not going to be the main focal point, so we might as well have some sort of wrinkle in there to make it that way. Can you guys see this?
Of course.
All right. So I took it like how Bracken was saying. It would be ideal if we could have the venues work into this, but I basically just went almost all on dates and whatever was available. So the spring season, the short course, start with Savage, Florida. That's March 4th. Then Baylor Stadium. You guys see that? Waco.
I'm bummed.
There's no ATT anymore, right?
No one wants to go to Waco either.
I saw Raymond James is back in. That's
Tampa.
historic.
Yep.
The legendary stuff went down there.
Makes me think Tom Brady was blocking it.
There's no other reason why that would be the case.
Nope.
Then the Spartan 3K, Palm Beach, April 21st. And then the final race of the season would be Spartan Big Bear in May, or it could be Savage, Maryland. I leaned into Big Bear for this just to have some mountains. And the championship would be Savage, Ohio on June 17th, or Race Brand Cloverfield.
And what's Ultra Champs doing in there? That's just a standalone event?
That's just a standalone event for potentially a specialist who's in this. I think a 50K distance. I was trying to work a 50K distance into the fall long course. It didn't make a ton of sense in terms of like the recoverability. But having like Montana May 6th, having it kind of in the middle of the spring season could have just be something interesting for people to prepare for like a specialist on the team. And it's something we haven't seen is this 50K championship. So it could just be something in the spring to let people prepare for who've been doing heavy miles over the winter.
Okay.
So this is over the course of, so I guess there's like 3 weeks in between everything, and short course I think it's easier to recover from. So Florida's East Coast, Baylor's Midwest. I don't think they would consider themselves Midwest, but they are in the Midwest area.
No, they're not.
Midway to the
Middle.
west.
You could say middle.
Middle
But that's
of
south.
the country.
That's southwest.
Okay. Time zone wise, same as you. Spartan 3K back to East Coast, and then Big Bear back to West Coast. That's another reason why I like that a little over Savage, Maryland.
Yeah.
There's really only 2 race series here. Cutting this out.
Yeah, it's tough because we're going off of the current race day offerings as opposed to like what our ideal one would be. Because in the past, that now we have November for City Field, but you used to have just a flurry of Stadium Series races in April and May. Like we had, I think over the course of like 3 or 4 weeks, we had 3 races at one point in April or May. But yeah, this is pretty solid, honestly. I think that what I would do for a short course season, if we were going to do that, I would want to test flat out speed, which I feel would be Savage, Florida, or Palm Beach. Those are going to be very quick venues overall. Granted, you'll have the sand, which is going to slow a little bit down, at least for Palm Beach. But if Savage, Florida, you're talking about the Miami-Dade Amelia Earhart Park. Do you know that one, Bracken?
Mm-hmm.
That's the one, I think, right? That's what
that's a very quick venue with some swimming in there. It's a little bit different. I like that as a venue, and Savage having a little bit more obstacle proficiency. That's a solid choice. We don't know what Baylor's going to be, but it's probably going to be good. It's a massive college football stadium. AT&T would have been better if it was still on the block, but it's not. But yeah, I think Savage, Florida, and Spartan 3K as well. Those are pretty good. And my only concern is Big Bear duration wise. That's not really short.
We can make it the sprint.
Yeah. So even though they're having the 3K the day before, we're going with Palm Beach for the 3K instead of Big Bear for the 3K, just to test a different skill set, basically.
So you can get some climbing in.
Yeah. Those seem fair. Yeah, I think what I actually, once I saw Montana, my thoughts were Montana Sprint, because it involves some bushwhacking and it's a little bit different than any other one on here. That's the addition I would have added into there.
That could fit in lieu of I like the Spartan 3K in there.
Yeah,
because it's different.
You've got 4 weeks between Palm Beach and Big Bear. If we do the Montana Sprint before, and now you've got 5 races in the series over the course of a couple months, like 10 weeks or so. And then you've got your championship at Ohio or our version. That's pretty good.
So I like this in theory a lot. I would actually remove the Baylor Stadium.
You're going to take a W for your team. What are you talking about?
I think, I would actually remove that potentially, but I would take Big Bear out and replace it with Montana. I'm not actually a fan of mountain sprints. To me, it feels like a waste of a venue because you're traveling a long way to get to altitude and a legit mountain, and you can't use much more of it than a Midwest mountain you'd use. And so I like mountain races to be minimum 10K in distance, because then you can at least get a legitimate climb or two in. Otherwise, you can only use one climb and your race is done, or you have to do a bunch of babies. And at that point, it's a waste of the mountain.
Could do the super.
You could do the super, but I actually like the idea of holding the ultra champs and that final race of the spring season on the same weekend. It makes it a flex option. Your specialist can go long. A few people can then roll the dice. Am I going to go short and try to steal points?
The
Or
whole
am I
team
going to
could show
try
up.
long and steal? But I like the idea of Montana capping off the spring season, then moving into that championship a little later, and then give all the rest of June, July for training and off season. So I do like it a lot. I don't like the idea of 3 out of 4 being Spartans, but I do like
That's what we got.
3 out of 5 being Spartan, since that's what it is.
The main thing with the Savage series is that it's all East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying, even like the Texas one, if that could have fit in there, but that one's in the fall. So I was like,
Yeah.
like it just, and I was looking at these other series, like I was looking at whatever the Bone Frog that's coming back, the Conquer the Gauntlet. Those are both in the fall. I didn't
You
have
can't count on anything else.
Yeah.
So I agree with it. So yeah, I would probably remove Baylor and put in a California race. Outside of right now, at this point in history, California spring is pretty trustworthy weather-wise.
Yeah.
So I think you could handle that there well.
When's like Monterey? That's usually that's usually later, isn't it?
Yeah.
Usually in June.
I look at this and think, who would it piss off? What would piss people off? And I think seeing a 3K and a stadium would be
Sure, of
like,
course.
what are we even doing here?
So early on, end of March, in a couple weeks, you've got Las Vegas. That could be another Spartan option.
SoCal,
Sacramento, San Diego, Charlotte, Tri-State, New Jersey. Those are kind of the other.
San Diego was
April.
the one that. When's that?
First week of April.
So that could be it.
So Sacramento, I would push for. I would probably have that, Florida, Palm Beach, and then
Sacramento.
Montana.
When's that?
Yeah. Something California
Sacramento's last week. Yep.
to balance
March.
out the travel.
Last week of
See,
March.
I personally like having a stadium in there, though.
It
and that's
changes.
our-
It changes the results.
Yes.
I do like it, but if we have a stadium and a 3K, is that, I mean, I
Stadium's
like
so different.
It's different.
it. Okay.
All these races are different.
Yeah, my other suggestion, which I wasn't sure how. That's why I asked: is this OCR or is it hybrid? I was thinking throwing a Deca fit in there. You're testing short course. Like I would love to see someone like Hawk Call or Mark Batra, one of the faster pure runners. Like see how they do.
So I like that actually more than the 3K, because we're saying this is the schedule and the race series to save OCR. And we're going to put our best foot forward with a race that's never been run and most of the sport doesn't want, and it has laser pistols. So I can't say that this is our best representation of what we can offer to the world, but I think a Deca would be a cool one to throw in there.
It's so
Over a
different.
3K.
There's no obstacles. It's indoors.
So what?
No, I don't want either. I would rather have a different type of terrain in there or find a different race. However, I know we're limited to what we're limited with, but I think that the 3K is our weakest offering we could throw out there.
We don't know. Could be great. People might
Could
love
be.
it.
But do you roll the dice on something unknown, not even unproven, just unknown, if this is our last ditch effort to save the sport and show people what we are? Are we really going to show them what modern pentathlon is, or are we going to show them what OCR is?
You sound spiteful.
I think
this is different than the actual event. This is the whole political part of things.
No.
Led into this conversation.
No, this is not political. This is, if this is the best of what we are, do we show something that we don't even know what it looks like?
I think that the athletes
Next year, this conversation would probably look a lot different.
I would imagine the athletes would be more willing to do the 3K Spartan than to have to do a Deca. I mean, it could change the way people draft just for one race because it's going to be so much different.
Rylan or Chris hop in and be able to do everything
and get worked.
Rylan didn't get worked.
The Rylan didn't get worked, but like, I don't know. I don't love the idea of putting hybrid in this personally. That seems way different. That would be like, okay, and now let's do Murph.
Okay.
In May,
I can follow
we'll do
that.
Murph.
And I'm okay with that.
I'm just looking at it like Baylor's this April 1st. You've got DECA Fit Sacramento. You've got Baylor Stadium. That weekend would be the time to do a short, non in the woods type of course. DECA has such I wasn't suggesting High Rocks intentionally because it's so hit or miss of that and so specific there. But I feel like there is a little bit of similarity between who can do well in these events because it's compromise running.
Okay, question for you. When is Savage, Georgia?
The 20. It's
soon.
the 25th of March, I thought.
Okay, so here's what I would say: remove Savage, Florida, and put in Savage, Georgia. Remove, and then I would put I would kick off the year in Florida with Spartan in February. So I go Jacksonville.
I had that on there for a second.
Then Georgia, then something, and then cap the season with Montana. And then have your championship afterwards. That way you end early and you have plenty of time for the second half of the season to prep for that.
It's just because you hate the 3K. Because that's why I didn't put it in.
You can keep the 3K in.
Well, then it's Jacksonville, Georgia, Palm Beach. That's a lot of Southeast.
Yeah.
Or Baylor. Get rid of the 3K. I still don't think it has a place there right now.
Baylor is unproven also, though. But
stadiums are. And I think people would be excited to see a stadium on there. They've been asking for years. Not everyone, but most. Yeah. But so I would start it earlier. I think we all complain about a February start, but I think everyone kind of likes it when it makes sense for the season. What they don't like is February and then May. But if we're going to be done by May and moving on our emphasis towards the second half of the season, which the Ohio Savage being mountainous means you can start training for the mountain courses and be ready for that. I would vote for starting in Florida with Spartan, then Savage, Georgia, because I think Savage, Georgia is too iconic not to have on there. Then we can get rid of the dumb 3K, have the Baylor, and then give people time to be ready for Montana.
Supposedly 50K. Dumb.
You need to have I think we need a 3K in here. We're looking at a short course season. That is a very unique offering. It doesn't get any shorter than that. It's got to stay in.
Bracken don't want them pistols. He doesn't want that.
I mean, if we do,
what if we take out the pistols and put the spear back? What if we do a basketball shot?
Yeah, Bracken. If you saw a couple years ago and it was there's going to be a 3K Spartan distance in here, you'd be like, and you qualify with 1,000 meters, you would love shorter stuff. I think that this is a representation of short course season.
I think so, other than the fact that it's never been run before and we're putting it on our master schedule. But more than that, I'm fighting for Savage, Georgia, more than I'm fighting against 3K.
So Bracken, would you be more okay if we switched short and long, like we did the short at the end, and that way you got a couple of 3K bumps out of the way and you know that it's a proven commodity, and then you end up doing Palmerton or something at the end?
Too late.
Too late? Yeah.
No,
I think so.
It's not about timing for me.
Okay.
But if it was as is, I'd be fine with that. I think we should vote Big Bear versus Montana.
Montana.
I like that idea of Montana and having the ultra champs there as well. Having because the full team can ride. I like that. Okay, we'll take out
it is
Big
decided.
Bear.
Yeah. Okay.
And that I guess what is this, 2 weeks of time? You're just trying to squeeze this 3K out of here, Bracken, however you can. Just moving on both sides, just squeezing it out.
Let's look at the skill sets involved. So you've got Savage Race, obstacle proficiency, stadium on concrete, good footwork's involved. 3K is speed for all we know at this point. And then bushwhacking sort of on a mountain. You've got a very good representation of, a variety of short course skill sets right here.
I like it. And I guess we don't have to get rid of in one of those and add in Florida, but I would say Savage, Florida, Baylor Stadium, Spartan, Palm Beach, they're all pretty flat. So I would say do Savage, Georgia over Florida, because then you get that hilly course, then you go stadium, then you go super flat, then you go hilly course to end it.
Yeah. And also
condenses the season, if that's cool. When is it? March 25th?
Yeah. So you've got 1 week between.
You go back-to-back races, and then you get 3 weeks off, and then you get race 1 week off, and then another race.
Yeah. I think also staying out of Florida twice, what you're going to get weather there. It's pretty dang similar. I think Georgia, you might have a little bit of variety there. You might have a a rainstorm or it could be cold. It like not super cold, but at least you have some unpredictability there, which would be nice because you'll probably get that in Montana as well, as opposed to just 3 really warm, dry races before.
Yeah, and we're going to get some West Coast in the longer course season, so I'm okay having a little more east now than we balance out.
Right, we got to go where the weather.
I'm happy with this.
Okay. Yeah, they're also not your cookie cutter Jacksonville every single time. Like I love Big Bear, but it's been like 4 or 5 years in a row that these are new.
Savage Georgia is a great course.
These are repurposed venues for a lot of series. Yeah.
So you get 2 iconic courses and 2 new ones. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
And then adding in that Savage Ohio Championship, I think that's a good gap.
It's kind of a mix, and it's kind of a mix of a lot of things. You get a little Savage up front, so if you need to work on obstacles, you have time to get there. It's you called it mountainous. It's hilly, and it is of that distance. So
yeah, you see the winner under 50 minutes. There's a lot of bushwhacking, a little bit of hills. It's still very, you can open up. I remember Sean Roberts, the first time we saw him, like just flying on portions of it. That's a good championship venue, and you've got a 12-week season from the looks of it.
And the gap between the last race, and it gives you some time, so it's not like the results are already in the bag.
And you got 5 weeks.
You
could take your off season and start your second half build and be ready for Savage, or you can train right through and say, this is my end all be all, and then take your week down after and still be ready for the next one. I like it. Although I have a glaring issue right away. I think Savage Chicago sucks.
We're not at long course yet.
I think it sucks. I want that to be on record ahead of time.
All right.
So the other good thing, we've got 2 Savages, 3 Spartans, but they're not all the same type of Spartan.
Yes.
Good variety. I'm okay having Savage Ohio as the championship for sure.
Good.
So after the season, I wanted to have something that might be more team specific. I wrote down the Commando Cup for Noob Sanity. That's not until September. That could be something that is actually a team event. I don't quite know how the logistics work of it, but it is very team oriented. But Palmerton, iconic venue, could be fun to have either some sort of stage racing, because this year anyway, we'll have a 3K on Friday. We'll have the Super on Saturday. It usually has trail. We'll just assume that there's trail. I don't know if there's trail this time. And there's like a sprint on Sunday. So it could be 3 days of competition. So we could either have it be some sort of stage race or have like the teams dispersed throughout. And at the end, there'd be like a collective point total with 2 people in each race or whatever.
Yeah. My suggestion would be do the Spartan Combine again. And then you get put a couple people in each event. You don't like that, Bracken, even though you've done it?
Yeah, I thought it was an awesome event that related almost not at all to Spartan race.
I know, but we're going on like short, explosive, like something in the short domain. A stage race just screams endurance.
Yeah, and I would honestly,
it's not short at this point.
Team
it's not
trifecta champs in Greece.
Yeah, something like cool. That. With that,
I think that'd be sweet.
It's a little. I think that might be a little conflicting with the fall schedule. When is that typically, Jack?
For what?
When's trifecta champs?
First week of November.
Oh, okay, that could work.
I'm saying this as someone who only wants to do short and explosive ever. I don't think that's our history in this sport, and so I wouldn't overly push it. Giving a shorter course like whatever 6K and under in the spring is already a lot of lip service to that side of a sport, which isn't historically what the sport is. I'm okay not pushing even more of that.
I'm just thinking of fun team events.
No, I'm not arguing against your idea. Just that we're already starting to alienate a little bit of what the history of the sport is.
Yeah, I'd be fine with the Noob Sanity Commando Cup because it's different and it's going to be cool because all those guys are super good at obstacles. So
if we can have Jared, and I want it in the summer. That's why I have Palmerton in July. And if we can move out this Savage Chicago, because Bracken hates it, then it would open up some time for people that's like a more fun event, something that's less needing to prepare for. If there was a DECA or a High Rocks in this time too, like then that could be potential for a team event as well. But yeah, I think the summertime would be a time where we can kind of goof around a little bit. We can ask Jared to move the Commando Cup.
Yeah, easy peasy.
He listens.
They own the venue. He can do whatever they want.
We can do that every day of the week. Commando Cup.
Yep.
All right.
So I kicked off Savage Chicago. Bracken hates it. for long course, and it also it crosses over a little bit. It might not quite be long course, but it's that middle-ish to kick off the year.
The fact that we're not doing Spartan, Florida means that it's not a redundant course. Because they're basically the same course, just in different parts of the country. So it's not the worst. I love Virginia, love Killington, love OCR Worlds. I think we need another West Coast in there. I'd love to kick it off.
There's no Tahoe this year.
Really?
It's not on the calendar. That would make sense.
I got a message from someone saying
I'm
a
looking
bunch
at
of
the
friends
calendar
are
and it's
doing Tahoe
It's on
as
there?
a team.
I didn't see it on there. Okay, so it's Tahoe.
Super Beast Ultra Trail. It's on here on the
Classic
2023 schedule.
commish.
I listen. If you just want to get things started, I'm your guy. If you want it to be run well, find somebody else.
That's what I'm here for.
But that I wanted Killington is where I started this whole series. It was the first thing I wrote was
Good.
Killington. I have Seattle as an option as well because it will give a little bit of a varying terrain. It's the same weekend. That's a fast beast. In that region, we don't have anything in the Pacific Northwest,
Which is tough.
which is tough. With they're already alienated.
Montana-ish, but not really. I know
Rocky
it's still
Mountains.
2 states away.
They did this to us with how they all scheduled their races. We're just working with the tools we've been given.
And we don't want to do a 16-week season. We want it a little more condensed.
And maybe I shouldn't have given this Savage Chicago. I was trying to throw a little bone for the Midwest, but you guys are just used to actually getting boned. So there's no reason to have. So you guys are fine.
How about Savage
around.
Dallas? That's usually around Halloween or so.
Do we want
Unpredictable.
Do we want Savage in the long course? I know. I also another thing too. I didn't want it to be just Spartan.
I know. You've got OCR Worlds representation there.
I think I would make our long course championship Greece.
I mean, I didn't do this on the world scale. We could make that.
Yeah, I would have put Austria and like several other events.
Okay, well then
if that was
the only issue is our championship then should be OCR Worlds. Again, it shouldn't be a question.
Yeah.
But it's early enough in the year that what remains after that?
And it's not that long.
No, it's really not. And so having it as the final stop makes sense. So then you have to come up with something pretty epic afterwards for the championship and what's left.
We
When is
ran
Tahoe?
into that issue last year, everyone complaining about the continuity of the calendar and like the dates just not making sense. Why you do Kelowna before, the champion.
This is why.
It was weird. Yeah.
So when is Tahoe?
It's
Probably
usually
last week of September,
Yeah,
usually.
so that's a hard transition from. It would be an easier transition from Seattle to Tahoe. It'd be hard from Killington to Tahoe, and it's always the
Yeah, I
case.
wouldn't want to do that. I'm just trying to think of what comes after October 7th.
Slow
Blue Mountain.
Blue Mountain.
Blue Mountain's after. When is Blue Mountain?
Yeah, do you have that schedule?
That was in
like
October last year.
So that would be a good one. I don't know.
That would be a great championship race.
Yeah. You never climbing more than about 10, 12 minutes at a time. Crazy muddy, just great views, accessible. Yeah, I'd be open to that.
When is
Or
it?
could we convince OCR Worlds to put on a 20K?
If we can let's move OCR Worlds to Noob Sanity's course. We can do whatever we want.
Bring it back to Ohio.
King's Domain.
That's what we want for the mid. No mountains in the long course champion.
There's enough
Championship?
climbing there that it's not a speed course.
All
Yeah,
championships in Ohio. I like it. Short course. Ohio will be
Yeah.
the hub of OCR.
I don't know. I still do not like slow as the long course championship.
It doesn't have to be that slow course.
I think it should be a mountain. If we're looking at what the sport has
hilly.
been historically, we really only have one mountain.
Yeah.
OCR Worlds would be two. I think the long course should be a mountain.
So
is this
in
changing?
October,
Are you seeing this? Does this change when I do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
so in
I want to see your
October,
search history.
No,
it's bad.
not today.
Actually, end of September we've got Tri-State New Jersey.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
But that's
in
Killington's-
October we've got San Jose, Nashville, Phoenix, Dallas, and Virginia. But all of those are just sprints. Phoenix and Dallas, those are both beasts. So
Nah,
Is that
not
exciting?
interested.
Or
I know.
when is New Jersey?
It said end of September. I don't have the exact date. I'm just looking at the 2023 schedule.
You see this? You see this too? I don't like that changing where I'm. Like the 29th? Or no, it's the same
Sure.
weekend as Tahoe? What are you
Let me,
looking at? How do you not have it?
because I just have generic dates. Okay, so 10/2. Nope, that's 2021 on this
Oh
one.
my
I'm trying to
goodness.
find dates, but it's not easy to find. This is annoying.
I'm not helping at all.
I'm aware.
You got nothing.
I don't even know where my phone is. What did I do with this?
We're on top of this.
You don't need your phone.
Like an old man here looking for my spectacles.
And blue lights. I don't know why Tahoe didn't come up when I was searching yesterday.
How about Hawaii in August?
Hawaii is such a good course.
We're not going international.
It's the same, or it's the week before West Virginia International. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough turnaround back-to-back weekends.
We don't need West Virginia, the best mountain course.
I guess I'm not seeing Tahoe on this now. It was on the graphic, but not the website.
That's what I'm saying. You think
weird?
You think I wasn't doing my research?
Yeah. All right. September 30th is New Jersey and Vernon.
Is that too close?
Well, if we're protecting Killington, it's too close. We don't have to have Killington on here.
I'm thinking about protecting OCR Worlds, which must be on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think of every single athlete who has ever done Killington and then run Tahoe. Like the couple weeks later, you just can't recover from Killington in time. It's never been a successful back-to-back.
Okay, so let's leave it as is. Let's get rid of New Jersey. Let's make OCR Worlds that fall course championship, and then let's give them another 50K a couple weeks after.
You want to do what we complain about?
You want to throw in a 50K?
You want the championship before the end of the series?
No. No.
Well,
I want OCR Worlds to not be right there. That's what I want.
It's not. Yeah. It's not a long course either. I wouldn't consider this like long.
What other options do we have than Savage Chicago within Savage during that time of year?
When's the
maybe we just don't get Savage in the second half.
And I think that's okay.
Because it was our championship for the short course, so like we're definitely giving it the respect.
We need a mountain.
Boston is not.
October 7th is Dallas.
Is definitely not. Nope.
We won't find a mountain in Savage outside of Ohio.
No.
Yeah.
We need a mountain.
What do we have in July for Spartan that could be a mountain?
Palmerton.
Why not?
Yeah.
Because I like my team race idea.
Oh.
We could still do it.
But then
let's put it in there for now and see how it looks. Let's look at it.
All right, let's just look at it. Okay. Palmerton, it's like July 17th or whatever.
14th, I think. Yeah.
14th.
For the 3K. Yeah. So it's the 15th, I guess.
I don't hate it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this
you can leave that whole season right there. You can keep Savage Chicago in. You can turn around in a week after a flat 10K.
It's only a couple weeks after this short course
or you can
championship.
take Savage out.
Yeah, now we're running into like we thought we were having separation between the seasons, but it's not looking so separated anymore.
And we could move this short the month. Yeah, it's not bad. Let's take this out. Bracken hates it.
OCR Worlds is now.
And you're talking 15K for the specifically 15K, right?
Yeah.
For OCR World Championships?
For the
And Palmerton would be super.
I still think the long course championship has to be OCR Worlds. That's the epitome of OCR.
It's not a long course though.
15K. Look, they sent 4,000 feet of vert, and it was taking people like. I know, but I'm saying like some.
No, I'm saying it's going to have to be the championship. I don't see how we don't.
Is long course
make it a team championship, and everyone does the 3K and the 15K.
You know, we're trying to help. If we make the San Luis Obispo Beast instead of OCR Worlds as our championship, that's not a good look.
No.
Look, they paid out like 25 cents for a win last year. All right. We're talking about the pinnacle of our sport. The
let's put OCR Worlds. So put OCR Worlds 15K as the championship, and then insert, say, Kelowna.
Better idea.
Do we just not go ahead, Bracken? I'm excited now.
Okay, not better idea than that. I thought Jack was going to say something different. I like inserting Kelowna, but let's make it OCR World's 3K and 15K team race. You do them both. But then we have our one Big Daddy race to rule them all, like 3 weeks later, and it's Race Brain Cloverfield in Arizona. So we have weather and mountains.
And sand. Yeah.
You won't get too much sand there.
Okay.
All right, we're
We'll
going
have
on.
a Phoenix area.
Wasn't last year's course one in like 21 minutes or something? It was so
No.
fast.
This
21.
is not.
We're
Spartan.
making it up.
This
We're
is
going
ours.
off the rails.
Oh,
We're going off the rails.
Gotcha.
We find our
Yeah, yeah.
own. We find a southwestern mountain base area to do our Cloverleaf.
Like Vegas or something.
or Arizona or whatever it's going to be.
Southern California.
Now, how does this look?
What date for Race Brain Cloverfield?
Say 2 weeks after OCR Worlds.
Do you want to keep it November 4, 2 weeks, or do you want to give them like that same window of time, like the same 4 weeks that
Well,
we gave them for
look
short
at the
course?
dates. July 15th. If you go 3 months later, now you're looking at October 15th. That's suddenly a longer season.
Make it December 1st. Make it a standalone event.
Yeah.
I don't care when it is. That's my mom's birthday, December 10th. Look at that. You're welcome, Colleen.
You said you didn't remember dates, and now I'm upset.
Busted.
Now I'm
It's my
upset.
password for everything in my life.
our dates. You just reset
December
password
10th.
again.
It's my
Boom.
birthday.
I just repeat it as many times as needed to hit the characters. 12, 10, 12, 10, 12, 10, 10, 12, 12, 10.
All right. Do we want to do that? Let's finish. Go ahead, Jack.
I do have one other idea for the team championship. They have an OCR Worlds team race. It's a relay format.
Yeah.
If we have
Does
teams
anyone
of 3,
like that?
I don't know. I like it.
I
do
want there to
actually
be
like
some
it.
sort of cross country scoring race. Just one. Give me one. There's no
That'll
reason
be a
there's
heck of
we
one to
can't-
do.
We can't do it in freaking OCR. They always try to
How
change.
about this? How about this? World's Toughest Mudder, like probably 5-6 years ago, had the 4-person relay. Do something like that. Only make it an 8-hour or.
That ruins everyone's off season.
It sounds terrible, and I would not watch that.
No. I'm saying so you're running no more than like 4 hours.
So many people in this will want to go after it. The individual. I like the idea. I do.
I
I'm
don't.
just throwing ideas. Yeah.
It's okay. No bad ideas in brainstorming.
Race brainstorming.
Race brainstorm.
Yeah.
Somebody say brainstorm. Okay. So, are we keeping Killington? Or are we going Seattle? Let's look at geographically. If we keep it Killington,
East.
we're leaning pretty heavily east.
We haven't gone west at all. Go
And it's
Seattle.
mountain.
OCR World and Race Brain will be west.
We have no Pacific Northwest representation.
Seattle. I've wanted to do that venue. I've never done it before. That's
Nick Mask will be licking his chops.
Oh yeah, no one's beating
Did
him.
we really just take Killington off our Save the World plan?
That's where I started the whole thing. It's just like the
Okay.
date. If we can, again, if Noob Sanity could buy it, move it around. But
What? All right, so let's vote. We've got 3 of us. Are we keeping Killington? I say no. I like Seattle better because it's variety. Granted, now that I'm looking at this, actually, West Virginia is probably a little bit more like Seattle than it is.
best mountain
Killington.
course. How dare you?
That's true. But we're gonna have Mammoth.
Palmerton's more like Killington than it is like then. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna say this.
Seattle is still low elevation, so it's not like we're replacing it with Tahoe or something Breckenridge.
And we
We're not doing
could
that.
do that. We don't have any altitude on this.
That's a good point.
Could also start off with Utah.
Utah's
Does
a
that change
fantastic
things?
venue.
That's the week before Palmerton typically, right? Is that the same this
So-
year?
Utah, Virginia, Seattle, OCR Worlds.
Yeah. Okay, go to the next page, Rich. Just what's after July 14th. So Asheville, New England, no. Hawaii, I'm telling you.
I think next year for season 2, we hit Hawaii and Killington. For this year, for the
all
sake of the
coasts.
schedule.
Yeah.
Let's
go to Alaska.
Once we're
Utah,
rolling
Seattle.
in Utah. Okay. Once we're rolling in dough after bringing this thing out, now we can keep my Palmerton. I mean, a team race is just toast.
Oh man, this is just like a train wreck watching this typing performance.
Lay off.
He doesn't use control right or control left. He does manual. Palmer, Utah.
Palmer, Utah.
Palmer.
That's where I grew up. Palmer Township, Utah.
See,
this is.
I was gonna say they all beasts, or can we do a mountain super? Because we don't have a super above.
Palmerton was going to be a super, so we could just make Utah a super.
Okay, they've had that before.
Okay, so this might, as long as we're breaking everything, do we need to get rid of the Savage Ohio Championship and just make Montana the championship and leave a longer break in between? Make it a 4-race series and a 5-race series.
We
rather
could
than 2 5s.
We could. I like that way. That time looks better. Or we could just make it like the last weekend in May, be a race brain Cloverfield somewhere.
Sucks because I want to do Savage Ohio. I like that. But yeah, let's do a race brain Cloverfield to round it out.
Race brain isn't paying this prize money, so I think we need to build on actual races that exist.
What? Who says that?
So we're gonna have double race brain Cloverfield. We're just gonna make us the championship.
We want the best.
Well, what else is available in May, June?
Yeah, go put Ohio back real quick. Go on the Savage calendar. Let's see what we got.
I liked Ohio because
yeah, it's great.
Ohio is the one that you think of.
Charlotte.
Maryland's good.
Maryland's good. How does that work?
May 30th.
It's got to be Ohio. Like
it could be Maryland. Maryland's a little bit undulating.
I mean, in that case, do we just bump out Savage Georgia in March and then we just do another one in late May instead? Just push the season a little farther back, and we do Tampa Stadium in May. So I don't know. Just
we need a championship. This would be for the championship.
I know, but the championship, I think Ohio, that's a great choice because now we've got 2 Savages and it's one of their best venues.
Maryland's one of the best venues. I don't hate the idea of Maryland.
The only issue we're running into is now we will have a
3-week break.
March through October season with only a 3-week break.
Yeah.
With Ohio, you're saying. That's what I don't like.
Yeah, but we also have a 3-week break prior to Ohio.
That's why just get rid of Utah and only do something like the beginning of August instead of the Utah Super.
Is there anything in after October 7th? Like what's after October 7th? I think
we could do, but OCR Worlds has to be the championship. It just makes sense.
It's not the championship right now.
I know, but I think that it should be.
It should be, but it doesn't work. So let's make it the final stop of the series and make Blue Mountain the championship.
Yeah, because I don't like it as a championship also because there's nothing else even close to resembling it, and have the championship be made up of
Utah's gone, Blue Mountain in as the championship. That fixes everything.
Yeah. Now
other than the fact that OCR World isn't a world championship. It's a world championship, but not the series championship. That's just what it is.
Blue Mountain is the last stop, or it's the championship?
It's got to be the championship.
It's long course championship, Blue Mountain on like October 14th or whatever it is.
So long, Cloverfield.
Shoot. I thought we had it. What so we're going to be okay with I'm okay with a 3-race long course too, honestly. I think that's fine.
Well, now you can put your Savage back in.
Which one? The Chicago?
No. Yeah, or something.
Go back to their schedule.
I like this break.
Yeah.
July Boston, dude.
No, that's just running through a cow field.
PA's August 5th. We could potentially do that, but then that could be okay. Savage PA.
Are there any other race companies that have good offerings around this time?
That's what I'm trying to think of.
Conquer the Gauntlet is short. Bone Frog, how long are those races in Bone Frog?
Theirs is in the fall.
15K. There is. They're only putting on one, and I thought it was September.
September 2nd. Lancaster is how you say it.
Whatever.
Lancaster.
You are the corrector, but you be corrected when it comes to local slang.
Sorry, I don't speak Pennsylvanian.
You don't.
Yeah.
That's September 1st.
That's another back-to-back week.
What's Palmerton?
Check Kelowna. When is Kelowna? It's not going to be in the U.S. schedule. They never do that, so you got to Google search it. Just giving you a heads up.
What
I
date is
know.
Palmerton again?
It's like
14th,
mid-July.
15th of July.
Yeah, it's too early for us. Plus, that's a terrible time of year to be in Pennsylvania.
It's rough, dude. That's part of the race. This is last
August.
year's.
That's last year. Yeah.
I don't know. Are they going back?
Yeah, they are. They announced it's part of the series already. Oh, September 3rd. It's on my birthday.
September
Sweet.
3rd. Let's look at it. Sometimes you just got to look at it.
Let's just see.
Okay, October 21st is Blue Mountain, so that gives an extra week of recovering after OCR Worlds. So change it from the 14th to the 21st for the championship.
Where are you?
Blue Mountain, it said it's the 21st.
21st.
Go back to Kelowna's page and you'll see the graphic on there.
Okay. Your heads are in the way.
September 3rd.
Kelowna, September
I like that.
3rd. Where does that fit? Does
Quick
that too
turnaround
close?
off West
That's 1
Virginia.
week.
West Virginia, do you just make it the Super then to kick it off?
Sure.
Wait, so we're doing Super here.
Kelowna Beast.
Kelowna Beast. That's 1 week. That makes it tight for this. Now this is where
September 3rd. Now you've got,
like Tahoe would now make sense for
but I'm not seeing it on their schedule on the,
me
on the
neither.
website.
And that's
so
another altitude. We already have 2 altitude now with Kelowna on here.
Which is fair, I think.
It's fine.
I think it's fair as well.
Sorry, mountains grow at altitude.
That's true.
Well, they start at sea level, Jack.
Well,
Below the sea.
they start below the sea, actually, Brad.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Prominence. We're talking prominence.
Mauna Kea.
What week was this?
September 3rd.
3rd. This is too close to get this. We can't have three long course races.
Yeah,
in a row.
Seattle hurts in there.
Seattle can be gone. And we could put in OCR World Championships.
Seattle Super. Do a Seattle Super.
No, it's still 3 weeks in a row.
No, it's not.
3 out of 4 weeks.
Yeah, because we'd have something on like the 10th that we're looking at.
Yeah, we gotta find another beast in there.
What's after OCR World Championships?
Or we start 1 week earlier.
How about
hit up
this?
like a Palmerton or a Utah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got another idea, thinking outside the box. How about like a Tough Mudder?
I love it. Let's do it.
10 miles.
Okay.
Let's see what their schedule is.
Tougher Mudder is what we were calling that, right?
Yeah.
We could even do an infinity or something.
Yeah, it's a different. So find an event on the top right, Rich.
I actually really like the idea of an infinity.
We're in the fall. Pittsburgh, all them Yinzers out there.
You got Seattle 23rd. Is that bad?
I think we
No,
need
the
something after.
23rd, and they've held their world championship Tougher Mudder in Seattle before.
What's
They
the
have.
23rd look like? Let's look at our schedule.
That's better.
It's tight.
No, because
So
now
if we
you
get rid of, we can make it Seattle Tougher Mudder.
Perfect.
Okay.
that
Infinity.
gives you, yeah.
Infinity. Did they offer that?
Yeah, that's in Seattle.
You wanted the Infinity, and that is an 8-hour loop situation.
Before
love it.
OCR Worlds? No.
That's only 3 weeks before. I mean, it's 3 weeks, right?
Multi-lap 8-hour.
Okay. Maybe a team version. I would definitely not do that and then do OCR Worlds after all this mountain running.
What's the turnaround?
What are we
2
at,
weeks
September-
till Mammoth Mountain?
It's only 2
No.
weeks.
No.
Yeah.
Let's do a Tough Mudder. We were trying to get Pacific
Good.
Northwest anyway. And that's the 23rd, Rich.
What?
Not the 16th.
Oh, so it was 23rd. Okay.
Yep. So let's look at this.
Oh
You've
my
got
goodness.
I'm gonna stop sharing this.
So now you've got back-to-back weeks for West Virginia Super and Kelowna Beast. That's doable, honestly.
Yep.
Very different type of courses. I personally thought Kelowna was like the coolest course I've ever been to. Then you've got 3 weeks until Seattle. We've got our Northwest. It's a different type of race, Tough Mudder. You can make it competitive. And then OCR Worlds 15K specifically, right? For the October 7th.
3K and 15K.
Okay.
You
So
want to
just-
do both?
I think
Well,
15K.
people are going to anyway.
Well, if you want to, but I think the series should be the 15K. That's like saying people will do the sprint and the super, but
Yeah, you got to do the 15K, but if you want to do the 3, do it.
yeah, go for it. But I think the
I
series
think that leaves
specifically.
this will work kind of how the Montana
Yeah.
Ultra Champs.
Yep.
This could be like
Yeah.
a spring, a
Do it
fall
if you want.
invitational for the 3K.
Yeah, exactly. And then our championship, Blue Mountain in Canada, which is a fantastic venue. I like this.
Right.
What do you guys think?
The pushback will be against back-to-back weekends, but OCR is pretty known for back-to-back. I think it's a good test. And also one of the big issues is travel. And since travel in theory on this is being taken care of.
Yeah, this is all fake. So
Not all fake. Real venues.
True. They should listen to us though. I think we've had like a good roundtable discussion on like pros and cons.
Who's they?
Them.
Who?
Who's the deciders?
Who's making this happen? This is us. We got to make this happen.
I watched Longest Yard on TV for a little bit.
Old one, new one.
New one after High Rocks when I was hanging out in the hotel for a little bit. And so when you said pros and cons, I immediately thought of an OCR con team. I thought, oh, Jack, what are you proposing here?
Yeah. The felons.
We're keeping Savage, Ohio, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're keeping it.
I like the okay. Now we have until that's June 17th.
You have 10 weeks between.
That's great.
That's great.
That's great.
Take that spacing out in fall course. It's hurting me.
Which one are you?
Yeah, double line. One more. Nope. In between West Virginia and fall, get rid of.
I'm even okay with the extra one above.
Nah.
But this one.
There we go. Oh.
All right, you guys.
I wasn't gonna say anything. Only Bracken did. So yeah.
The stuff that really matters.
And if we really want to talk about it, there's an extra one above.
Yeah, in between Savage, Ohio, and Fall Course. But listen, that's just.
I'm simply just going to delete all of this as soon as this is over. So.
Just delete.
I feel like that's happened to a few of our documents in the past.
Oh, I have a lot of stuff on here. This is just like a lot of junk.
Whoa.
Look at all this stuff. We got okras.
I was like, we're talking about this today. Also, what?
We got the okras. We have the lists that I referred to often on here. BK, we were talking about it before. You're 16.
16th.
Sweet 16.
Looking ahead of me, there's no wiggle room.
Ryland's coming for you.
The only wiggle room ahead of me, honestly, is Soleil.
Yeah, I feel like you have a good 3K series. I'd be okay with bumping you ahead of Batris.
Yeah, Heineck's the world champ.
Heineck's on his way. You could be the world champ.
Heineck's only going to get better.
Heineck's on his way up.
Kempson, Veerman, they're only going to get better, which means Soleil is the only ripe one there, and he's not that ripe.
And he's got 5th at Worlds and multiple European.
I was 3rd at Worlds.
That's true. It's very similar competition.
All right, we don't need to get
only against the goats.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm just kidding. I will never compare my era to this era. I know my role. I know my place.
Yeah. So, Rich, what are your other topics on this specifically?
You know what I don't like about this?
We did it.
Zoom doesn't show a timer.
I'm saying I started it well after we started recording.
I would say we're at probably an hour. 45.
We're at hour 45. Yeah,
okay.
We started around 12. We started around 12.
Yeah. Quick switch. Okay.
Okay. What are the holes in this that people will be upset about?
Spring, we talked about it. It's got a little bit of everything.
Well, it's going to be whatever people. BK doesn't like the 3K. He should. He's gonna
try it.
I'm not saying me personally. I'm saying for OCR.
How about this, Bracken? And
It'd be like me saying, let's put Ninja in.
I get it.
Let's do it.
Here's a suggestion that I've yet to hear.
Where's Gov Games?
Yeah, that's season opener. That's the team season opener. But I haven't heard anybody mention this for the 3K. Since everyone complained about the 2 1K rounds and a 3K. So this 5K total distance. Why isn't it just 3 by 1 mile? All the qualifications are a mile and your championship is a mile. Like, that's straightforward. I think that's the format that I would go with.
TMX.
Yeah.
You just want TMX back?
I don't know why we need 3 rounds.
We don't need 3 rounds. With 45 competitors, there's going to be 35 chumps in there.
Well, and how many? We've talked about this, but I just want to cement this. What do we lose by going down to 2 rounds?
Story.
Participation story, yeah.
Not participation. 2 rounds of, I don't know. Do you need 3?
No,
You could do 2 rounds, but the prelims have 3 prelim heats. 15, 15, 15. First 5 in each one, or winner of top 2 in each one, and the next blank fastest times.
that's
Top
what I was
3 in each one.
like.
Why do we need 3 rounds?
It doesn't even make sense to go from 45 to 30 to 15. Like 45 in 3 different heats. Like how many people get eliminated then? Like you have to be way in the back, right? Like so if you're qualifying from 45 to 15,
You're getting rid of the people that didn't belong there in the first place, essentially.
and it's not even that.
That's
the stakes
harsh.
aren't even that high. Jack, what is my math here? What's going on? How am I thought I've done this before.
I didn't know you were doing math, but
What?
45 down to 30 is useless.
okay.
Right. And
You either start with 30 or you start with 45 and you do 3 heats of 15.
okay, that's what I'm trying to do.
And then you cut
still
10
do-
out of each heat.
I think that tactics are going to be involved, and you're going to see people need to red line a little bit more than they want to, and it's going to actually involve some strategy there.
Okay, so yeah, in that the 3 rounds of 15 to get
you
to
can
30,
pop
you
when you're
only-
fresh. There are going to be a couple people who pop a really good 1,000 in a 6 to 7 minute window.
We're only eliminating 5 people from each heat. 10 move on. That's insane. 10 from each heat move on. If we're going from
if you look
45 to
at
30.
800 rounds and 1,500 rounds, like,
Which is a common complaint as well at Olympic trials, is what are we even doing here?
But they've been doing it for a long time, and everyone talks about it's not the fastest person who wins; it's the one who can survive rounds. That's just been
And I guess
the
it's
way
like
the track works.
gives people more of a reason to stay and do it. If there's a chance of them doing 2 versus 1, they'll probably, I don't know.
Let's give it a chance. That's all I'm saying.
I'm going to give it a chance.
I like it in here as one of the races.
I want to be very clear on my stance. I will give it a chance. However, I also won't promote it as one of the best parts of our sport before the chance has been given.
I get it. Yeah.
Like, I won't say no to anyone's idea, but don't kill the sport to try this new idea. That's been my take the whole time. However, I thought about it this weekend. I'm committing myself from here on out, starting right now, to try to be 80-20 positive about this moving forward. I've been inherently negative,
Wow.
and it hasn't changed anything, but it's not helping anything either. Like, by not changing anything, the help is gone. So now it's only being negative. So if it's going to happen anyway, with or without my consent, and they're not asking for my opinion, at this point, I have to think about the health of the sport and say, I'm just going to support it until it proves me otherwise. Even if I don't think it's smart, or even if I think it's dumb, I'm going to try to be more positive than negative, because what am I helping? Everyone's heard what I have to say at this point.
Nice. Do you want us to tally that? Okay, you now have a negative comment you can get to keep the
dinger?
ratio appropriate.
I think, yeah, remind me when I get negative.
Do you want like a bell?
Well,
for
you're
a good
allowed to be
one?
negative 20% of the time, so we gotta keep track of like how
Maximum. I don't want to shoot to hit 20.
Oh, you don't have. It
No.
doesn't have to be 80-20.
It's
You
got to
know,
be
like
at
I've been
least
too
80
positive.
positive.
Okay, a lot of long, slow miles.
Yeah.
Easy work. Just being positive.
Arthur would be proud.
Yeah. The Lydiard of positivity. That's you.
Or something like that.
Something like
I think
that.
he was more like 90-10 or 95-5.
He was a lot of volume.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a misnomer. They did quality work.
Yeah. Well, one other question for this. So we've got Ultra Champs 50K in Montana in the spring. Should we make World's Toughest Mudder the fall version of it, just so athletes can have 2 times the race?
Well, they have all of these long courses.
Well, there's a difference between like ultra long and just beast long.
Let's let World's Toughest just be World's
Be its
Toughest.
thing.
Okay.
We don't need
Fair
we don't
enough.
need to get our hands up on that.
My
Yep.
goals for the future would be to have Killington and Trifecta World Championships incorporated.
We can make it international, like a world
Yeah.
World
Not North
Series.
American. Yeah. That'd be
Yeah,
nice.
ideally it'd be international.
Let's see how the first season goes.
Like, spring is local. Everyone has their local spring, and then fall is international. Or vice versa.
Yeah, because if we had an international, like it would be the whole thing would be in Europe, basically. Just looking at some of those crazy courses.
Like Hawaii.
Europe.
Need that Hawaii.
Yeah.
Need that Hawaii international
Yeah.
course on there.
Just because someone will hear it. That is a callback to a previous episode. That's not any of us
Go back and
thinking
listen.
that Hawaii is international. Let's be clear on that.
I think
Well, did
Kirk was going to bat for the Hawaii being international.
International.
I think he suggested it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm closing this if we're good.
Yeah.
right.
Anything,
We wanna
anything else
stare at
other
it.
than that? Let's
We can
dive into
keep-
the team situation. I
We
don't
can
know
keep
what
looking at our work and just being like, damn, this looks good, man.
it's
This
pretty
is
now that those spaces have
nice.
been corrected. Yeah.
It is formatted appropriately, even though this
Yeah.
is just for internal use only. We want to waste
Except
our
for
time
the
with formatting.
YouTubers.
The
who wanna watch
YouTubers.
it.
I'm not sure if this is even going to go on there because we're outside of our normal freaking process. Jack in his soil. Can't get it.
Has it
can't
worked
get
better, though?
straight. It has worked better. It has worked better.
Unfortunately, yeah.
It's definitely worked better.
Acquiescing to the needs of the few. And just making it harder for everyone else in the majority.
Yep. Only as strong as the weakest internet link.
USA, you know?
Yep.
We don't have to keep going. Do we just stop?
Stop it early?
We did a good job today.
Bracken, take us out like you do on Running Public.
And we're out.
Are we finishing? We're done. We are
Yeah, I
actually.
think so.
Okay.